Welcome to the Media Mavens Show, a fantastic fusion of health, wealth, and wisdom that will ignite your passion for life. I'm Aldwyn Altuney, also known as the Media Queen from Australia.
And I'm Kerstin Linnartz from Germany. We are here to take you on a journey of inspiration to help you grow in life and business and unlock your true potential.
With a combined 70 years of media experience, we share stories, insights, and expert advice that will empower you in all areas of your life.
The Media Mavens Show is not just another show. It's a candid look for answers to the big questions in life and a movement towards a better, brighter future.
This show transcends borders. We're connecting people and cultures globally.
So whether you're watching us online or listening to our podcast, buckle up to be inspired, informed, and ready to conquer the world.
Oh yes, welcome to Media.
Welcome.
Media Mavens Show, episode 5. Of course, I am from Australia, and my beautiful co-host is from...
Yes, I'm tuning in from Germany. That's why I'm dressed all warm. And we're so happy to welcome a very, very special guest, Lorna Bukkland. Very warm welcome, Lorna.
Yes, we're going to be chatting about how to achieve results faster. A little bit about our beautiful Lorna. Now, she is one of our beautiful Mass Media Mastery members. We've been working together for quite some time now. She was given 3 months to live 42 years ago. She is a master NLP trainer who's worked with 133 mentors. She has worked in Brisbane. She has trained and spoke all over the world. Welcome, Lorna. So great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, what a biography. Really impressive, Lorna.
Oh, my gosh. Particularly this 3 months to live 42 years ago. Can you share a bit about that first, please?
Well, it probably was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it made me change my life. And I was, at the time, I lived in a small country town, and I'd lost 10 babies in the womb, and I was in a domestic violence relationship. I was too frightened to get out, and I say to any women out there, if you're going through it, find someone and get the hell out of it. But it's something that I had to have my cancer to make me move, if that's a way of putting it, because I was too frightened, and I'll be honest. And I thought no one would believe me what's happening, and no one would believe that. So after I just lost the 10th baby in the womb and had some things, and the specialist gave me the news, well, you have cervical cancer and it's not real good. You better get your affairs in order. The most we can give you is 3 years, but it could be as soon as 3 months. So at that time, I didn't really care. I didn't have a good relationship with my sisters. They were always narcissistic towards me. So I really didn't care if I died. I'd lost my father 3-4 years before, and I was like that with him. And so I didn't really care. But what changed it for me was my doctor made me go to counselling. And she taught me that I was a good person, that I could love myself, and I had to learn how to. But also this lady in the hospital came up to me, and I had given up. She put a hand on my shoulder and she said, Lorna, every day you wake up is God's blessing. She said, no matter how bad you feel or what pain you're in, do whatever it takes to get up, clean up, dress up, make up, show up, and never give up. And I never knew at that time the impact that it had on me. So I started to do things for myself, and I, at the time, was a consultant for nails and makeup. And I went and did a full beauty course So that when I left the small country town, I had a business that I could go into. So I did beauty therapy and the lessons we learned from everyone. So I then set myself up in a business and organised, ready to leave, went to the city, bought a beauty salon, had my own business. And we have so many valuable lessons in life that we're not aware of. And we were just talking before, but how we can heal ourselves and what it is we can do. And I'll get into it. There's lots of little steps. When I was doing beauty therapy, they gave us 2 plums, fruit, and they were on our desk. And one lady went to pick it up and the teacher said, no, they're not to eat. And we all look at each other. What? And she had a pin in one of them with a coloured top. And we had to take that everywhere with us for the next 6 weeks of training. And the one with the pin, we had to put moisturiser on it morning and night when we did our face. And the other one didn't. And in 6 weeks, the one that we put moisturiser on our face was still like fresh. The other one was crinkled up. So I learned then how important it was to moisturise. And I think now because I'm 72 and I look at my skin now to a lot of other people and I'm thinking, what a valuable lesson that was 42 years ago, right? So it's the things we learn. And then I got introduced to mind powers with Don Keogh. You may know him or may not. And we did a 6-week course and it introduced to a lot of things. But then I went to a weekend workshop. And the weekend workshop, working on your inner unconscious mind, your mindset and everything else, I had so many breakthroughs. It was like, oh my God. And I then got introduced to NLP. And that's probably where the real big changes, even though I'd started to change, because I was sitting in a training and the trainer made a comment and he said, nobody makes you feel anything. And I'm sitting there and inside here, there's this little war going on. Oh, how could my sisters make me feel this? My ex-husband makes me feel like my in-laws. And it's like, how can he say that? And it was like this war going in. Nobody makes me feel anything. They do, and it was like this fighting spirit. But when you get the knack of it, nobody makes you feel anything. No one is in control of your feelings. Pretty hard for some people to take. And because I couldn't blame anyone anymore, I had to take ownership and go, well, if I'm going to get better, if I'm going to change, I have to change how I react to other people. So that was a big ha-ha moment for me. Another ha-ha moment in that same training was nobody makes you happy. Happiness comes from your perception. Your perception creates how you feel. Happiness is a feeling. And I'm like, really? So like it was all just a bit much at the time because it was all this, no. So as I started to embrace and learn and take on a lot of the basic NLP skills, my whole life changed. And just so many things changed, and people noticed it. My beauty clients couldn't believe the changes in me. So they were signing up for the trainings and things like that, and going to Sydney, which was 2-hour flight. So as a lot of people got involved in it, and then they became my guinea pigs for practicing my NLP. So a lot of us made lots of changes in lots of ways, and it didn't happen overnight. Little breakthroughs all the way through, and Aldwyn's done a lot, I've done a lot, but there's never one way, and it will take as long as it has to. So where did it help me for turning my life around? Okay, NLP gave me the tools, but that didn't change anything. I had to change. So when someone said something to me that annoyed me or got my like this, is I had to learn then, what is it that I had to do so that it no longer affected me? Because in the NLP training, neurosciences and everything there's a lot about neurosciences and that. And one of the main causes of heart disease was anger and stress. One of the main causes of cancer was holding on to resentment. And I went, oh my God. I resented my ex-husband. I resented his family. I resented my sisters. And I had this whole body full of resentment. So then I kind of went, oh my God, I have created my cancer. So I had to do a lot of processes around that. I'll share something with you in a minute. And I then had to start to just work on myself and do a lot of things until those people no longer affected me. Did it happen overnight? No. But every day I did the process until they were no longer an issue with me. And one of the main things of this timeline therapy with NLP and timeline therapy is that I had to do timeline therapy processes on myself every night. And if during the day I felt some anger or something towards someone, I had to sit, I'd go to the toilet and take my time and sit there for 5 minutes and do a process. So that you've got to do it until there's no feeling inside. When someone like sister contacts or someone to do it. So I don't know how to fix that, Aldwyn.
Well, it is as it is, right? I mean, life throws curveballs all the time, and it was great that you, it's great that you that you actually, realize that this resentment was actually eating away at you. And as they say, there's a statement about that. Resentment is like taking the poison and wanting someone else dead. And of course, that's exactly what it does. It eats away at us internally. So just having that awareness, you were able to shift that and put into place some ways to move through that. And I think it's wonderful that you reached out and did a lot of personal development work at that time too. You had a lot of insight, which also helped how you came across and the quality of your health moving forward as well. So hats off to you, Lorna. Amazing story.
I think that you've got to be willing to step out of where you are. And for anyone going through a bad marriage or some illness or something like that, don't just rely on the doctors. Do and invest in personal development and get in touch with the inner self and work with it until it works for you. And another big thing that I had to do was I had to identify who were the people that drained me. When I was with them, I felt sick, I felt scared, and I'd come away from it and I was shaking or was going like that. So I had to identify it. And unfortunately, one of the main ones was my two sisters. And it's interesting now because their children don't really have anything to do with their mothers. So it wasn't just me. So identify in your life who are the toxic people. Family, everyone's brought up that, family is the most important thing. But if it's toxic, it's not. And I have lots of colleagues and friends all around the world who are more like sisters, and we are so close and everything else. So you don't have to be blood to have that. So I've been blessed in so many ways. But it takes time, and with yourself, when someone has a go at you or picks on you or is nasty to you, you have a choice how you react. And most of us like to come back and justify ourselves. So I'll try and put my hands up and show you. If someone's got to see where it goes in here. If someone's got talking to you or says something to you, there's no conflict. There's no conflict till you come in and become a part of what's been said. So a little secret for anyone is when someone says something to you that you want to react to, stop, breathe, and just imagine and say to yourself, that's their thoughts, their feelings, nothing to do with me. As you imagine pushing it back, do not allow it to go in here. Do not process it, because as soon as you take it in and try to justify and process it, it affects how you feel. It affects the body, it affects your emotions, and it affects what you can do. So it's really quite interesting. What is it we can do to stop allowing others to affect how we feel? And I do that quite often with it. It's just what we say to ourselves and imagine. So I live with a husband. We've been married 32 years. He thinks different to me. We never think the same, but we have a good relationship. But I'll never think like him. He'll never think like me. He'll never do things like me, and I'll never do things like him. And sometimes he says something, and in the past life, before all this NLP training and that, I would have reacted. And I would have fought to say, you've got to do it this way. It should be done that way. No. So what is it you're doing every day that either enhances how you live your life or it is making your life worse? What's your health like? Now, I fractured my back 6 months ago. I had a fall, and my doctor was amazed at how positive, how cheerful I was when I had a shoulder that was going to be replaced, the fractured back and everything else. And he said, you're so positive. And I said to him, I don't know whether I'll be careful what I say here. I said to him, if I focus on the pain every day and I focus on it and I go, oh, I am making myself feel miserable. Nobody else is. And that's going to hinder my healing. So I go, oh, well, another bit of an ache and a pain, but focus on what I want to do, focus on what I want to achieve, focus on what I do. So every day I get up and I do things to make me feel better. And a lot of people are amazed by different things, but we all have choices. We don't all have to do the same thing. For me, I get up, like the lady said on my shoulder, I have my bath or my shower. I do not leave the bathroom until I've put my makeup on and done my hair. And every day I wear bright colours, and I do it for me to feel good, and I match everything. And some people think it's over the top. But I really don't care because I've been doing it for 42 years and I do it to make me feel better. And so I say to people, what is it you give yourself every day? And what is it you do for yourself every day before you do anything else for anyone else? So that's what I do for me to make me feel better. No one else. And I have comments. I had one business lady say to me once, if you're going to do business meetings, I really suggest you tone down your colour. I go, really? Why? She said, because when you wear so much colour, people feel uncomfortable with you. And I go, well, that's their issue, not mine. And I said, I have been wearing colour for 42 years, and some people have an issue, but most don't. And training at NLP University in America every year and going over there, what's the one thing people love and smile when they hear about me or whatever? Oh, I just love your colour and your bubbliness. So there's lots of people that love it. They don't want to be around people that are always sick and miserable and whinging and complaining. So what is it you do yourself? So to get results faster, change your mindset. And when someone says something, there's people in politics and all these things with different views. But if I got into each and everything of them and say, well, my way is the only way, I'd be miserable and fighting every day. So I have acceptance that both of you probably have different views than what I do in some things. My husband and I have different views. People I work with have different views. But it's how we react to it that creates whether we have good health or bad health. And I really say it. I always say no one's walking in your shoes, and they probably wouldn't be able to anyway. Only you know your struggles, your challenges and obstacles. And I always stop and think and be proud of how far you've come. And I say to people, every day is a blessing. And when people say, oh, you poor thing with whatever is going on, and I say, what are you talking about? I've had 42 years I was never promised. And I've travelled the world. I've trained with many of the masters around the world. And I've had so many opportunities. I've been on wonderful holidays. 42 years ago, I would never have thought that would have occurred. So be grateful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really, really amazing. I would like you to take us back to that day when the doctors were telling you only have like something between 3 months and 3 years to live, because everything you were sharing up to here, I would say it all comes down to a form of self-responsibility. And that's a very strong thing that neuro-linguistic programmation gives us, to take our own responsibility to change the self-talk that we have. Because today it's a scientifically proven fact that if we keep telling us, I'm going to die, I'm not going to live long, I'm going to be ill, it's going to happen because you are moving yourselves in that direction. Back then, when you got this horrible diagnosis, which, by the way, I think is irresponsible from doctors to just blurb that out, right?
I know.
You did not have the NLP training back then. You were a young woman, you were in this abusive relationship, so you were scared, maybe insecure. What would you say besides this encouragement from outside by this nurse who tapped you on the shoulder? What was going on inside your head? How did you change your inner talk and refused to take that diagnosis?
I have to say I had the most wonderful doctor who was by my side so much and encouraged me to have counselling and supported me. And when I first went to counselling, she'd ask questions and I didn't tell her much because we were in a small country town. And she said to me one day, she said, I think you were holding something back from me. What's the matter? Now, my in-laws were Catholics, religious Catholic, and she was a Catholic, and they go to church every week. And I thought, oh, my God, whatever I tell her, she's going to tell them. And so I kind of said, look, I'm just a bit frightened. You know, you go to church, you know them, da-da-da. She sat me down. She said, Lorna, anything that goes on here does not leave here. Nobody is going to tell her. But I had no trust. I had no trust because of what I'd been through with my ex-husband, what I'd been through with my sisters. I had no trust. I really didn't trust anyone. She got me to have trust. My doctor was there and he did everything that he could to support me. And my mum was still alive. Mum couldn't do a lot, but I had a second mum. And Una she never had children and she looked after us, but I looked after her till she passed. And I went and moved in with her. And then what I did is started the beauty salon in the country. And it was really quite interesting because I had clients coming in and they were feeling good and everything else. So I started to get the connection and confidence back. And then when I knew that I had enough training and things like that, I looked around and I said to my ex-husband at the time, we're going to sell the house. And he said, I don't want to sell the house. I said, well, buy me out. That's the only deal. And the day that I left with my furniture, he came back and said, I've decided I'll go to counselling. I go, too late. No way was I going back anywhere. I mean, for months and years, you know. And I think his mother said, we can't have divorce. Catholics can't divorce, you know. And so I got in the thing and went. And I bought a beauty salon in Melbourne. And it was all so new for me to go country girl to the city, have my own beauty salon, didn't know anybody, and took on the clients from the previous owner and built up some really good friendship. And I had some good friends down there. So I guess with my friends, my doctor, my second mum and mum, and that they were all there to support me. And the interesting part is my sisters did not know I had cancer because I knew I would not get any support from them. But I decided with mum and my other mother and my doctor, we decided not to tell them. So the only ones that knew that I had the cancer was my mum, my second mum, my doctor and my counsellor, and 3 friends in Melbourne, because I didn't want false, I don't know what you say, people coming to try and help you and whatever. You go, oh, she's going to die, what can I get? Type of thing. So, you know, they did not know that. And then I did, with doing my personal development and that, it was a journey, but it was an interesting journey. And then I ended up with my husband, who I tried to match with my best girlfriend. I did not want another relationship at all. And so I tried to match him with my best girlfriend. She was up here about 3-4 months ago, and we're still good friends. And she said something. She said, oh, God, I'm glad I didn't end up with him. And because they would have clashed, you know, with it. But my husband, John, he did a lot of the NLP journey with me, and he had a lot of his own demons to deal with as well. So we were lucky that we were a couple doing it. And I think we went out together 4 years before we got married, because I still wasn't real sure. Well, they start off good. You don't know how they're going to end up. So it was, you know, it's been and still been a journey with lots of things and facing things. Another thing when I did advanced LP training was I still a lot of times felt inferior to other people. And I said in this advanced training, I often feel inferior. And the trainer said, you can only feel inferior when you are comparing yourself to someone else or you are judging them. And I'm then, I don't judge anybody. Oh, no way. But then, because I was a colour consultant and I'd done colour consulting and beauty therapy and things like this, I'd sit at the airport sometimes and I'd see this beautiful redhead, like Aldwyn or someone, a beautiful redhead and things, and I'd go, why do you wear black? Because it's one of the worst colours an autumn person can wear to their face. I wouldn't say it out loud, but inside. So be aware of what you're thinking and what you're saying to yourself. It doesn't have to be someone else saying anything. What are you saying to yourself that's causing that disruption in your body? And so every night I do a sleep affirmation and I thank my body for helping and supporting me. And then I connect to my body and I ask the body or tell the body what I want it to do for me. So healing, whatever it is. And when I've given it all instructions, I say to wake up in the morning at a certain time with full rejuvenation of the body and full energy, with full mobility in all my limbs and totally pain-free. I never get up and have pain all day. I might move through the day and have some pain, but I give instruction to the body every day. And, you know, and that makes me work. So I'm saying, hey, I want full mobility, you know, all my limbs and totally pain-free. So what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying I can't do something? Or are you saying I can? And when something comes up and something might go wrong, another thing, I guess, is something my dad said years ago is when I mucked up or something went wrong, he would say, that didn't work out well. How can we do it better next time? And then sometimes he'd say, what do you think we could have done different today? Now, when something goes wrong, I'll say never, but very rarely, 99% of the time, never react. Because I know, and I learned that years ago, is if I react and hold resentment or whatever, I'm going to create my body getting sick again. And I'm not going to allow what someone thinks of me or what someone says to go in here and affect me. So if something goes wrong or a challenge, my husband overreacts and I just laugh. But he's there, but I just automatically say to myself, how have I created that? For what purpose? And what is it I'm needing to learn from this? And so without even thinking, because I've done it for so many years, something happened, go, oh, that didn't work out. What is it I need to do? what do I need to learn? So when we do it over and over, it becomes a habit. So if you want to heal faster and get results faster, and you're going to do something and you say, oh, but so-and-so is doing that, I can't do this and can't do that. I always say to people, stop. I can do it. And so automatically, every time you say something to yourself about what you can't do, just clap your hands and say to yourself, stop. Then what do you want to do? What is it you'd rather be doing? Where would you rather be? Who would you rather be with? Ask that of yourself and imagine being there. And you turn it just like that. It's amazing. And it works. As I said to someone, it works. And then I learned to add layers. And I think with NLP was the basis that got me to do this. But over the years, I've learned so many different modalities, and none's any better than the other. It's what you do with it that counts. And most of the other modalities all enhance each other. There's no one or the other. And what I like training with Robert Dilts with and assisting him, a lot of people do what we call Generation 1 NLP, and it's all about the mindset. Generation 2 incorporated the mindset and brought it into the body. So you never have a thought that you don't have a feeling. You never have a feeling that you don't have a thought. They work together. So then there's third generation NLP, which goes is, where can we use this? It's not just about therapy. It's in coaching, education, engineering. It's in so many things. And then Noka brought out, or he created with Grant Susalu, embraining, which is the 3 brains. So we have a brain in the head, and it's neuroscientifically proven that we have neurons and working brain in the head, brain in the heart, brain in the gut. And they all work together. If they're out of sync, you're in trouble. So what instructions are you giving to your body? Are you listening to your body when that gives you a bit of a nudge? What is it you say to yourself? And I see people that, oh, I love this, I love that, and everything else, and they get into the wrong relationship time and time again because it's all about the passion and the love. But they've got to have a bit of sense here too, is if that person has been in more relationships over and over again, what's going to make it different for you? Listen to your head, your heart, and your gut. Make them become aligned.
Tune in.
Yeah. It's so amazing. And Aldwyn, you've done a lot of different things as well, is none of them are any better than each other. And they are all complementary to each other. Aren't they?
We're all teachers and we're all students at the same time, right? There's always things are always happening for us, right? And that great question to ask, how is this happening for me? How has this happened for me? Rather than being the victim of our circumstances, how can we rise above it? How can we look at everything as a learning? Because it's only an expensive lesson if we don't get the learning, right? Other than that, it's just, okay, well, it is what it is. What's actually happened, just getting real with yourself, with what's happened in life and, all the things you've liked and you haven't liked. And, we certainly have resistance, right? And what we resist persists often, right? We have resistance when something happens we don't expect to happen. And then we think, well, why the hell did that happen? And in fact, well, why did it happen? I wonder, how did I manifest this? How am I responsible for this? This is a way we can actually gain control over a situation rather than that person did this to me. And like you were saying at the beginning, right? That person made me feel this way. No one can make you feel a certain way. It's your choice how you choose to feel. And it's actually having that awareness and tuning in. And our last episode, actually, we had lovely Falzia, I could see on Instagram here. And she said, amen to that wise words to what you're saying, Lorna. Great to see you, Fauzi, and everyone else on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X. Welcome. Let us know where you're joining us from. If you've got any questions as well for Lorna, we like to make this interactive. And we were talking about how yoga is actually a great way to connect to source, and that's actually to get the three brains aligned. The more we do the inner work, the more it shows up on the outside. And that's something I've certainly had to learn, 40 years in the media, like Kerstin, right? It's go, go, go. Many years in the media can be full on intense, and it can be very much in this head and not much in the other heads, right? Because it's a very masculine field in the media. It's very much it's like you have to almost be masculine to make it as a media person in traditional media, right? Things are changing a lot, I believe. And I mean, Oprah's a great example of someone who, powered through regardless as a woman. However, really, many of the media organizations I worked in are 90% men, in these organizations, and to scale up through the ranks to become, leadership material as such, or seen as leaders in a lot of these media workplaces, you had to take on this masculine way about you. And the masculine way is very much in this head, I believe, right? And I think the mature masculine is actually also operating from the heart and the gut. And I think as women, sometimes we have become removed from that too. And I think the more we do this inner work, the more we can tune in to our heart and our gut brain. And the more that I have all three aligned, and it doesn't always happen. I notice when I'm out of sync. When I'm out of sync, I go, okay, what do I need to do for myself? How do I now, what do I need to practice self-love, self-care? Is it going to the beach and having a swim, or is it getting grounded outside, or is it having a moment of presence with my cat? What is it that's going to fill your spirit up so that you can bring yourself back in alignment? I think it's so important. And I know there's probably many different answers for people. In fact, let us know watching this live right now, or if you're watching the replay, what do you do to bring yourself back into alignment? I'd love to hear from you here in the comments. Kerstin, what do you do? I know you're a huge yoga fan. What do you do to bring yourself into alignment?
I bring everything together. I love what you both were saying. I mean, Lorna was touching that it's always different layers. You can't only operate from the head. That's what happens to so many business people. I see that when I work with clients who are in the midst of a burnout, or they're facing a burnout. When I start working with them, which is a natural reaction, right? When you have to run a company, when you are starting a business, you are left brain operating, and that can pull all of your energy away from your heart, away from your gut. And this is why so many business people who are facing burnout, they are also having these symptoms of gut problems, of heart problems. I mean, when you look at numbers, you see so many heart attacks, you see so many gut, throat problems, and so on and so forth. This is because all of the energy is in the left side of the brain. So what I keep doing, and we were talking about that before the show, I'm a single working mother. I'm an entrepreneur. I run the whole show myself. I cater for my daughter. So I'm in my left brain naturally throughout my work day. But what I do consciously throughout my workday, I unplug at certain times, and this is a process that can very well be learned. I consciously draw my energy to my heart. I ground myself. I go to my root chakra. I literally ground myself. I sit. I want to show you something. Look at that. I'm wearing grounding socks on my desk in the summer when it's warmer. I'm barefoot on my desk, and I consciously, and when you train that, your mind is like a muscle. When you go to the gym regularly, you train your physical muscles. When you work with your brain regularly, you train your mind muscle. So I don't advocate multitasking. I absolutely advocate focus on one thing only. But what I do while I'm on my left brain on the desk, I feel the soles of my feet barefoot on my stone floor. So I keep a body-mind connection, but still throughout the workday, I regularly unplug. I go to my heart, I go to my gut, I go to my feet, right? After the workday, what I do is I bathe in sea salt. I really allow the osmosis, I allow the osmosis to nourish my body with all the minerals, all the nutrients. And after I check, I don't check my cell phone before I go to sleep. After I checked my social media for the last time, I put my phone away. I dive underneath my huge bathtub that I'm blessed to have in my sea salt. I unplug and I let go. So I make sure that I go into a good night's sleep. I recalibrate my nervous system, my adrenal system, and then I wake up and I go to the left brain again. And this all can be trained. To everyone listening and watching, I know there's many busy people. I know there's people suffering stress. The world is getting faster. We are bombarded with information. And it's so important, and I love what you're saying, Lorna, is all about taking responsibility for yourself. And I would like your voice for that, Lorna, because so often nowadays we hear about, wishing from the universe. I love books like The Secret and all of those things that have brought the spiritual aspect of self-development to light, which I absolutely love. But I see a little bit of a danger that some people rely on wishing only. And you've been saying that as well, Aldwyn. It's about bringing it together, and you can only develop and achieve your results faster, like the topic of our show, when you integrate. It's about learning, education, but only with integration you achieve your results. So what's your thought on, Lorna, this unfortunately getting more and more popular? I would almost call it wishy-washy wishes to the universe. What would you tell people to actually achieve the results and not stay stuck in the wishing phase?
I think one thing that's really important, and even in my trainings when I'm training people, I will often say to them, now you have to go and apply to self. And I had a trainer one time who'd been a trainer for years, and she did the 3 brain training with me. And she said, I never understand what you mean by apply to self. And I went, what? I was like, what? So when we learn something, a lot of coaches and trainers will learn to work with someone else and make their life better while they're living their life with terrible relationships, everything else. And so, it's like a weight loss coach is telling people how to lose weight, and they're obese themselves and not doing anything. I wrote something down just so I had it here to think, but the first thing is you've got to become self-aware of what's going on inside of you. And you're only going to get emotional resilience when you're aware of what you're doing that's creating something to be wrong. But you've got to also become consciously aware. And like these people say, well, I'll have a pill, I'll go to the doctor, I'll do this, do that, something else. No, you can take a tablet. I'm not going to get into that argument and thing. But it's what you do in here. Stop blaming others. Stop living in denial. Stop making excuses. They're all things that are going to make you sick. Take ownership, become accountable, and take responsibility for your changes. You are the only one that can make the change in your life. If you are living in a relationship that you're frightened in, you're scared in, or you just, well, most time it's frightened, especially with a lot of women, find a way or find someone you can talk to outside your family usually, and talk to them and get help. Get some personal development. I have seen so many people come in and do my weekend workshop that have been in terrible relationships or relationships with families, things like that, can't get into a relationship. And I can't guarantee with that 2-day workshop that they're going to go out and they're going to have the best relationship or whatever. I can't guarantee when I work with relationships where marriage is a problem that they're going to stay together or what. Sometimes it's healthier for them to leave the relationship. So it's not up to me or anyone else to say what someone should do. Do personal development. I always say it's the gift you give yourself. Invest in yourself so that when you make a decision, you're aware, you know, and you stop blaming others, and you feel comfortable in the decision you're making to go forward. If you can't get that inside of you, you're never going to go anywhere. And I've lost 5 friends over my lifetime with cancer who've died in their 40s and 50s, and one girlfriend who died in her 40s. When I first started NLP, she had cancer and everything else. She was a pretty angry person. But I said to her one day, look, I'm learning this stuff and it's really helping me. Would you like me to share with you what may be something that you can do for yourself? And her words were, an effing doctor can't effing heal me. How the F can you? And I said to her, I can't heal you, but it's helping me. I'd love to share it with you and see if you can make it work for you. She died about 6 weeks later, and she never was interested in trying. And you can't make people. But it really saddened me at that time, because I was going through battles and things like that, and I was making an effort, but to see them not want to make an effort. And at that time, now I would just accept it, but at that time, it was really hard that I could have helped her. Well, I thought I could. I couldn't. I could support her, but she had to do it. And then my bridesmaid for my wedding with John, she died in the 50s of cancer. But they knew what I went through and everything else, but they didn't want to deal with it.
I had a friend too who was 55, and he said, I've got 3 months to live. And sure enough, he had 3 months, he was gone in 3 months at 55. It was just absolutely tragic. As they say, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And my dad always said about anger, he said, anger is danger. That's what my dad always said. However, internalizing that anger is not a good idea either, because that can lead to depression, as it did for me. It led to depression. So I think you need to release your anger, not be harmful to other people. However, having that self-awareness, okay, I've got some anger issues going on here. How can I let this go? How can I deal with it?
So something I'll give you there, if you feel anger, instead of internalizing it, my dad died of a heart attack, and he was not an angry person. He had some anger, but he never brought it out, and he internalized it, and he died of a heart attack at 61. The known cause of heart attacks, one of the main things is anger. And so when you feel angry, stop, take a breath, and say to yourself, just take a couple of breaths, how would I rather feel right now? So instead of being angry, I'd like to be calm and peaceful. Remember a time that you were somewhere or whatever, feeling calm and peaceful, and allow yourself to go back there now. And go back there and imagine being there, stepping into it, and feeling that calmness all through your body, that peace and calmness all through your body. And do not come away from that until you feel it go right through your body. Then take a deep breath, come back to the world. You're in charge of your reaction. Anger does not go past any part of my body. Even when something goes wrong, I've broken things, I've done things, and I go, oh, what do I need to learn from this? And people say, you don't react. I got a new car. My niece was living with us, and I'd only had it 2 weeks, and I was driving, and we all had to stop, and someone ran up the back of me. And I came back and I said, well, someone's just run in the back of me, so I better ring the insurance place, I suppose. And she spoke to her brother and she said, someone ran in the back of a car and she didn't even care. But I think I made a decision years ago when I learned NLP, when I realised that my anger, my resentment created my cancer. I will not allow anyone, or I will never get angry or resentful. I will not allow it to happen. I will either push it away, say it's yours and accept it, or if something that I'm starting to get a little bit, I just go, how would I rather feel right now? Remember a time I felt that way, go there and get it through your body. Even if you have to do it 3 or 4 times a day, it doesn't matter. But you're in control of how you feel. I get on trainings with the American groups and the European groups and German groups and things. And for me, it's like the last few weeks, it was 8 o'clock at night till 4 o'clock in the morning. And then 6 months ago, it was midnight till 7 o'clock in the morning. And we had to do 4 days in a row. And someone said, you're so bright. I go, well, you devils do have it at stupid times sometimes. And but do I turn up there and go, oh, I might as well not go because I'm not going to get anything from it. So you're in control of how you feel. You're in control of your state at all times. And you can change your state at any time. So if you see yourself getting angry over what someone said in the news or what a friend said or what someone's done, stop. Accept that everyone's going to do things different and there's going to be people who do things that you would never do. And me at 72, and I see what happens in this world today and what we live through and things like that, and I don't believe some of the things that are happening. But I'm not going to allow it to affect how I feel. When I die, I'll be ready to die. I won't make myself sick so that I die sooner. And I have died 4 times in my life and been brought back. And they don't want me yet. So I've got heaps more to do. You know, why do you enjoy every day? They don't want me, or maybe they're just frightened to have me up there.
You're going to change the minds of the angels. Lorna, I'd like to ask you two things. We've heard your attempt on anger. I love that because so many people are angry, either consciously or subconsciously, and that causes so many diseases. There's 2 other topics I would like you to sprinkle your wisdom on, or maybe even show us. I'm a big fan of NLP. I know how it works, and I share it with my clients. And I'm obsessed with language, you know, the power of language. But before that, I would like you to address one thing quickly, especially in Germany. I don't know about Australia. NLP used to have a little bit of a prejudice because it was perceived by some people that it's getting abused to manipulate people in business calls, in sales calls, and so on. Give us your opinion on that, please, as a decade-long NLP expert. And then I would like you to demonstrate the positive effects that NLP can have within split seconds with topics when you do the interference in the mind of a people. We heard your opinion on how to change your reaction to anger. Another thing that I see in my clients so often is this conscious or unconscious perception of victimhood. Why is this always happening to me? What are they thinking about me? Victimhood, how can I get out there within a second? And then also the imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. I can never do that. I'm not smart enough. I'm not trained enough. So please clean up the prejudice against NLP for us and then show us how quickly it can work.
One of the things with NLP, there's always going to be in any business, there's going to be people that will misuse it. And I see it in different fields and everything else. I thank God every day that I've had the opportunity to train with so many of the top trainers around the world and be affiliated with Robert Dilts for 15 years and Judith Delosier and that. And the community internationally, right around the world, in every country, we have so many connections. And so you can't stop people misusing it. But again, I think a lot of times it's because they've trained with one person and they only know one way of doing something. But they've never really integrated it into self to really feel what it's like to do it. And a lot of people, when you say they misuse it, a lot of people with sales and things like that, they'll misuse it because all they're focusing on is the money. And it's like, well, I'm going to do what the money, I can do this and do that. I really believe if you work on yourself and do what you need to do, nobody will sell you anything you don't want. Nobody will manipulate you to give an answer that you don't want to give. So this is where it's important for each and every person to do the personal development and embrace it, take it on, so that when you have a salesperson come or something like that, you won't get taken because you know what's right for you. When you're connected right through, you're right for you. And what was the other question you asked me?
The shifting from the victim mentality and the imposter mentality.
So as I mentioned before, and it was a lesson for me, is when we don't feel good enough, we are always comparing ourselves to someone else. So when I compare myself with you and say, oh my God, she's got this skill that I don't have, I'm then saying to myself, I'm not good enough. Or else if I was, which I'm not, but like some NLP trainers and stand up and go, look at me, look at me, look at me. I've trained with 130 people. I'm better than anyone else. And look at me, look at me. Because, and everyone, Aldwyn will tell you, and that I should push myself out more forward. But it's not who I am. Because Shelley Rose Chevet, she said to me one day, you should advertise as being the #1 NLP trainer in Australia. And I go, no. According to whom? Now, to you I might be, to Aldwyn I may not be. So it doesn't matter. I don't do all my trainings and that to be #1. I do it for my own self. But then my gift is when I train you, it's when you go out and you do what you can with the NLP and you have a full understanding of it, that you create your success in your work. Then when I hear that, I'm going, yes, yes, I've done my job. I'm good. So I'm a good trainer. They can go and do it for themselves. That's all that matters. It's what you contribute and what you connect and give and share and collaborate with others that makes a difference. Stop comparing yourself with others. Learn from them. If someone has a skill that you would like and you're not there yet, ask some questions. How did they get to do this? Where did they learn from? What did they learn? What is it they've done to get that success? So we call it in NLP modeling. And as Robert Dilts said one time, he said, we can read every book, we can watch every DVD, but it's only storing information here. It's not until we integrate it, use it, work it, and make it work that it integrates into the body that becomes our wisdom and it becomes our knowledge. Just watching a video or reading a book does not give you knowledge. It's only like a computer storing information. So if people have got imposter syndrome, that they're not good enough, my thing to them is get out of your box, do some personal development, invest in yourself, and learn new skills. Now, I might have a lot of experience in NLP, but you get me to do this technical online stuff, I can do a lot, but it challenges me. So I'm not the expert in that. And I'm not the expert in marketing myself. You know, so we can't be the expert in everything. Find something you're passionate about that you love and become the expert in that and be aligned with it. So when your values are aligned with what you're doing and you're fully aligned, you can be passionate and love it all the time. Imposter syndrome wouldn't even come anywhere near you. So when people are saying, you know, they're not good enough, who are you comparing yourself with? Who would you like to become that you're not? What is it you're needing to learn or upskill in that will allow you to get to that step you want? It's not what you do or I do for them. It's what steps they take to get out of it. I've seen people that have been on the street and broken everything else, and Aldwyn has too, and they've gone and learnt a skill or, you know, got out and they might be making sandwiches or pouring coffee or something else, but meet someone and learn different skills and then become a successful entrepreneur. You know, and if you'd have told me 42 years ago that I was a shop assistant, that I would have become an NLP trainer and take M-braining over to America, the first person to take it over there, and training people all around the world, I would have laughed at you. It was not in my radar at all. And even when I did NLP training, I didn't do it to train others. I did it for my own self and then help my beauty therapy clients that used to come in with their problems. And then I did a weekend workshop like I did that made a difference to me. I still love that. It's my favourite. And so it wasn't, I'd done trainers training in California 35 years ago. And so a trainer, one of my trainers from North Carolina, him and I did stuttering workshops with people with stuttering. What do you call it in overseas? It's stammering.
The stuttering. Yeah.
So with stuttering and things like that. And so we did workshops here in Australia and in Perth and over in America and that. And he said to me one day, you should be training this. And I said, oh, Bob, there's so much detail. I'll never remember all this. And what he said to me, and I'll tell him that I'll send him this. And he said to me, Lorna, you don't need to know everything. You've got it all inside of you. You need to get on the train. And he pushed me. I'm so grateful that he did, because when he pushed me, I loved it. I did have it inside of me. I was looking, I'll never remember all that. But once you bring it into you, you don't need to remember. Before a training, I don't go and look up the book, what I've got to do today, and I can change the training in 2 seconds, you know. So when you've got it inside of you, and I say this for speakers or anything, never speak on a subject you don't know about. Never speak on a subject of something you haven't experienced. Because when you've experienced and you have integrated it, you know about it, you don't need prompts or anything. It comes through you. Otherwise, people are then, if I just train what someone else has trained and I haven't integrated, it's like me facilitating information to them. It's only facilitating what I've got up here, and therefore I can't give them how to use it.
Yes, that's why it's so important to realize, you know, to integrate. And I think when there's the self-realization, when you first, I love how you keep repeating, you need to work on yourself, you need to integrate it yourself. It has to be part of your DNA to genuinely be able to teach it. And when you have managed this self-realization, which you with your biography have on so many levels, then you don't need to look it up, because you are living proof that the things work. You are a walking, living, beautiful proof that you can heal your body. You are a walking, living, beautiful proof that at the age of 72, you can conquer the challenges with technology. And you sit here and you do an interview podcast with a woman from Germany and another lady from Australia, which is amazing. And I love how you are a living proof of it is about not accepting the given, because that's what NLP is teaching us, that what's good self-development is teaching us, not to settle for the given, and to be determined to expand your borders, and that's the bottom of growth, I would say, right?
I think the one thing that I'm really grateful for, I had trained with so many trainers, but I went over to Italy 20 years ago or something and did Words That Changed Mine with Shelley Rochevet. She's living in Germany now. And she turned my model of training totally upside down. But it gave me different ways of training, because all these other trainers, you've got to do it this way, this way, this way, this way. And then going over to America, there was a whole different thing. But what I've seen with them, they don't just sit with the original model. They use the original model. They never get rid of it, but they expand on it. And Robert asked me to come back in 2010 to assist him with training the next year. And I said, no, I've been affiliated with so many trainers. I'm not a black and white person. I don't like black and white manuals. I don't like manual, which is black and white writing the matter. And this does nothing for me. You've got to have pictures and charts and whatever. And I said, so yeah, and I have to be able to add some of the things that I've learned along the way with my training. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, Lorna, you can do whatever you like with your training. If you're certifying with us, long as the content's there, I'm happy with that. But if you're training a group and you need to bring some of Tad's or Michael's or Sue Knight's or Shelley Rochevet's stuff in because something's happening in your training and it's going to make value or add value, you can do that. And I stood there and I looked at him and I went, are you for real? Because all these trainers I had, you must do it this way, you must do it that way. Do not change the manual. Do not do this. Do not do that. It's like, are you real? And I've been affiliated with him 15 years and we still have a lot of fun, And he said in his mastermind, and Shelley was in his mastermind years ago, because she came here about 6 years ago, and he said, you've got to embrace what you learn. You've got to make it yours. You've got to add value from what else you know to make it uniquely yours. And that's when it's value for your students and other people. So my NLP training is not just one model. It is so many things brought in and add value to it. And he told this masterclass, I have this affiliate in Australia, and what she has done with my manuals is enormous. She spent months doing it. And he said, it is unbelievable, but her training is so much above so many other people's training because of the value she's added and the time she's put into it. And Shelley came over here and she said, can I have a look at him? I said, well, you're staying with me for 4 days. I suppose you can. And she was amazed. He let you do that. And where most people get one manual for a training, I have 3 days a month over 4 months, and they get 4 manuals the size of the people get one. But I give them charts to work on themselves, because that's what's missing from most NLP trainings. You get how to work with someone else, but you don't get a way of working with yourself, and that's important. And so then you get other charts and worksheets so that when you do the training and do things, you can go away and go, having a bad day today, what is it I need to do? And you can pull out a worksheet and work on you. To me, that is the gift you give.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that.
And having had the great pleasure of doing a workshop with Lorna, in fact, we did 2 workshops last year called Skyrocket Your Success. And Lorna has so many amazing resources at her place, so many sayings and booklets and all sorts of things from all the different trainings. It really is quite an Encyclopedia Britannica library that you've got going on there, Lorna. And of course, all great coaches have coaches, right? All the great sports people have coaches, have multiple coaches. And, I love what you said there, Lorna, about when we compare ourselves to others, how it's often because we're not feeling good enough. And of course, the 3 biggest fears that most people have is I'm not good enough, I don't belong, and I'm not worthy. And, I'm not loved, I'm not good enough, I don't belong. So notice, are you having those conversations with yourself? Because everyone's unique in their own unique way. We did a phenomenal interview today on Total Truth Show with a lady who grew up with 2 blind parents. And it was called The Truth About Living with Blind Parents. And I actually got very emotional during this interview. And imagine if you close your eyes and imagine the world as darkness. And both this lady's parents both were born with blindness, and like Helen Keller was blind, and it's phenomenal the things we take for granted, and how so many people are just live in drama when they've got so much they can actually be grateful for. And I think gratitude is such a simple way that you can achieve results faster in life in a simple way, just very simple. What can you acknowledge yourself for at the end of the day? What can you acknowledge yourself for right now? That having a fully functioning body is something you could be very grateful for. And I mentioned how Nick Vujicic, the guy with no arms, no legs, who's based in California now, he's got 4 children, fully limbed children, 4 children, no arms, no legs, one of the most inspiring speakers I have ever seen. And if you've got anything you're whinging about right now, just look up Nick Vujicic and check out some of his videos. He is extraordinary, and so many others out there.
Something I do every night, and I've been doing this since John Keogh 40 years ago or so, is every night I've got a book. I haven't got one right here now, but you just get a book and you write in it every night, today I have achieved. I've got a PDF I can share if someone wants it, and it will have this in it. But today I've achieved. So you sit down before you go to bed. Today I've achieved. Whether it's empty the dishwasher, make the bed. The first thing that I write in it, I got out of bed today. And someone said, but you get out of bed every day. When I was losing my babies in the womb, I was in hospital sometimes 3, 4 or 5 months that I did not put a foot on the ground. I got bathed in the bed, everything, because in those days, if you miscarried or something, they think, well, if you stand up, you're going to miscarry. Anyway, but that's another story. And so then the next thing, I do that till I've got everything that I've achieved today, because a lot of times we go to bed and think, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. No. Then I acknowledge everybody who supported me in any way today. So you get that. And I just write down anyone that supported me in any time today. And the next one is I acknowledge everyone that I've supported today. And then I look at it and I go, wasn't such a bad day. After all, I achieved a lot. And then I go to bed, go to sleep, do my sleep affirmation thing. In the morning I get up, I read that, I look over it, and I go, wow. I tear them out, throw them in the bin, because today's a new slate. Don't keep carrying and comparing what you did yesterday with today. Stop comparing with yourself. Only better yourself. Start focusing. If you start to focus, and that's probably a good thing from imposter and not feeling good enough. Start writing and acknowledge what you've achieved, who you've supported and who supported you. Every night, within 3 months, you will notice a difference and you will not be focusing on what you haven't done. And John, my husband, he's an engineer, so he focuses on problems a lot. And he goes, but he might say to me that, everything's going wrong with this and that, and have a bit of a whinge. And I say, how long is it since you've written in your book? Oh, it's been a few weeks. And I just say to him, well, you may start to feel better if you start to do it again. And within 2 or 3 days, he's feeling better. He gets lazy sometimes, but that's okay. And I don't take it on. I don't bring it on and get all upset over it or anything. So, as I said before, what is it you're giving yourself, and what is it you're doing for yourself to give you the best life, to make you feel good every day? So I write in the book. I do the sleep affirmation. I get up every morning with full mobility in all my limbs. And as I say to many people, because they don't believe me sometimes, but I said I've had lots of things removed, replaced, and reconstructed in the body, and there's still things under consideration. But I can get up, I can get dressed, I can put my makeup on, do my hair, I can walk around, I can do most things. Don't ask me to run a marathon.
I think that's something that you can easily keep off your bucket list. You have achieved so much already. You mentioned a very good word here, remove. And I heard something the other day, which I loved. I wrote that down in my appreciation book. I call it. I do this same practice, but I keep the pages. I don't rip them out.
No, rip them out, because if you keep them.
First time I heard that. Yeah, because what I learned when I started working with the appreciation workbook, when you have days where you feel shitty, which we all have for whatever reasons, not enough sleep, little baby, menopause, whatever, go there and look at a very good day. Pick out a very good page and have your own achievements encourage you.
How many days, when you're looking for that good day, how many days do you go over that were a bad day? That reaffirm it in here. So what I say is keep a book of positive affirmations or things that people share on Facebook. I often share positive things because I have a bit of a go. That's good. And so keep a book of positive things. Throw the negative away. And instead of then you can go and pick up that positive book and read it. If you've done trainings and had positive things, keep it and read them. But if we go, my husband has a journal, and he's kept his journal. He writes in every day for 40 years. There's a whole pile. It's just, and if you don't know a date of something, he will know about when it was, and he'll go back and he'll say it was on this date. And I'll go, good luck. You know, how much did he go through? And how much did it worry him to go through to find that date? You know, I live very much in the present. I used to focus a lot on the past, but when you focus on the past and you bring up all the hurt and everything else, you're doing it to yourself, you're reliving it. It's like replaying the movie. And when you're replaying the movie, it affects the body. So I cannot change what happened in the past. It doesn't mean I don't forget it, but I don't allow the energy in my body to become connected to it. Now, I can imagine the future. If I say, how would I rather feel? I'd rather feel this. I can go out there and I do that. But when we start to go out there and say, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, my God, how am I going to do this? Whatever. And then they start to get really go with it. Have an imagination. But remember, your imagination is only the thoughts, and you're creating it. The past, you're reliving it. So I live very much in today. Now, to some people, they say, oh, yuck. But my husband, he knows every history date and he loves history and whatever. I can remember things in my past, and there's things in my past I love, but I don't focus on the things I don't. So today I wake up and today's today, and something might come on the news and my husband will tell me, to go, so, Lorna, that could be our future. You know, this canary is on climate change and something. And I said, I can't physically change it me alone. I can work with people to change different things, but I can't change the world. I can change a little bit of it, and hopefully other people will change a little bit of it, and together we can change the world. I don't know, Aldwyn, you want something to say on that?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I want to add the part of the removal, right? You were mentioning you're removing those things. And what I heard the other day was a coach saying, you have that vision of yourself, the person you want to create, that best version of yourself, that person you admire, that you're proud of, that you want to share with the world. And then it's more about removing than about gaining, because then you, bit by bit, you will remove everything that's in between the person you want to create and where you're now. So all the unhelpful habits, all these negative thoughts, like Bruce Lee was saying it. I love and adore him. You have that piece of wood and you chop off everything until you've carved out that person that you want to create. So I love that, because often removing something, letting go of something, dropping something sounds and feels easier than gaining something, right?
I just felt so much lighter when I removed toxic people from my life and different things and that. And even with trainers and things like that, when I see trainers really disrespecting their students or something like that, I will walk out. I don't think any of us have a right to, everyone's going to go through a different journey, but none of us have a right to stand up there and belittle someone in a classroom. And I might be doing a training and you might be there and you've got a problem and something comes up and you have a bit of a breakdown. I can focus on you and make it all about you, and you're going to feel uncomfortable. Then the rest of the students are going, oh, we come here for training. So I let you go, and then you go out for morning tea or lunch, and I'll go, do you know what? I think if I add this in now, you're going to get a benefit from that. So while you're out having a lunch, I go to the computer, print something off, and I come back to the classroom, and I'll say, I've decided with what's gone on before and that I'm going to bring something extra into your training. It's going to be a bonus. And I'll do it, and I'll do a process in that. And I can guarantee 99% of the time that person that I was doing it for to make a difference will come up to me and say, I'm so glad you did that. I really needed that. And I go, yeah, I know, but I'm not telling you. But other people in the class come up and say, that was so valuable. So you train, but the students control where the training goes. And I think that's the biggest difference with a lot of trainers in the world today. They want to get up there and dictate and tell and everything else. They're not connecting with their students, and they're not contributing to their students' success.
Yes.
To me, that's the gift that I've been given. I've always been a giver, but the gift that I've been given from the opportunity of training with different people. And I'm still contributing a lot with Robert and people. And I've got a friend in Holland that I pick up with, a lot of friend in Germany, and that's so Malaysia, England, and we all connect. But we support each other. We contribute. So my thing in life is not what can I get from somebody, because when you want to take from someone and get from someone, you're never going to feel satisfied. You're always wanting more. How are you contributing to someone else's success? How are you contributing to make their life better? I have never done a training that I have never paid for. And I've been offered free trainings, but I will never take a free training. I will always pay, because they've had to pay for their training. But also, when I pay and invest in a training, I will make sure I get value from it. A lot of people do a lot of trainings, they get free, this, that, and everything else, and they really don't use or benefit from it. And that's just my value. That's just my value.
Yeah, when we pay attention. We pay attention, and that's a beautiful thing about you, Lorna. You are incredibly generous, and in fact, we've had some amazing conversations, gone for hours. We've already been chatting for 90 minutes here almost, so we do need to wrap up the show shortly. I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to everyone who's joined us live. Jeffrey Arnott there on Facebook, Paroj India, great experience lesson. Paroj says we've got Pat Armistead here on Facebook. Great to see you here, Lorna. Pat says can't wait to see your book. You are such a huge resource. Oh yes, absolutely. Lorna is a wealth of knowledge. Pat says love to see your PDF today. I achieved. And Pat says a master knows what to call on and how and when to bring something in. I love that too. Thank you, Pat, there. And all the people on Instagram that have joined us as well. Angelique's there. Hello, ladies. Angelique will be joining us in an upcoming episode of Media Mavens Show. She's one of our other beautiful Mass Media Mastery members, extraordinary lady who's also working on a book at the moment. We'll be hearing more about her in the coming weeks. Now, Lorna, in summary, in a few points, how to achieve results faster in life. We've covered quite a bit. Just summarizing before we wrap up and let people know how they can connect with you. What would you say are the main points?
Well, I think that to get faster results, you've got to become self-aware, be emotionally resilient, and stop blaming others, living in denial or making excuses. Take ownership, become accountable, take responsibility for your changes. You are the only one that can get faster results for you. Once you invest in yourself and use it with yourself, you'll change your results, and sometimes overnight. But if it doesn't go overnight, keep practicing it until the changes take place. You're in control. You can do it. I've done it, and I was a little nobody from nowhere, and I did it successfully, and I've seen lots and lots of people over the years do it. So go for it. You can get faster results.
Absolutely love that. You know that saying, it takes many years to be an overnight success, no? There's always the foundation that needs to be laid, and the more time you invest in that foundation, the more solid is the house that you build, no? And then it can last so many years. I mean, you're a beacon of light, beautiful. This is really, really, really something to look forward to, I must say. I gained a lot from me personally. That's what I love about this show, by the way, Aldwyn. It's such a blessing, you know. I always get something out of me for myself that I integrate, I take it in, and it rubs off. You know, we always learn. We're always molding, you know, and the brain never ends growing, no matter how old we are and no matter how trained we are and experienced we are. And I can tell after the shows, having conversations with inspiring souls like you are, you know, I always sprinkle in something. The next call I'll have with a client, with a student of mine, something will rub off, something will pop up, you know. And I loved what you were saying, how a good teacher they never just follow the blueprint. It's about being empathic and dialing into the situation of your student. And so often it happens that I hear myself speaking to a student and something pops up. Oh, this was something Lorna was addressing. And then it just comes out, you know. It's very intuitive. And I love that. It's really, really been a beautiful conversation with you. So very much appreciated. Big thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for the
Thank you so much, Lorna. Now, for people who want to work with you, Lorna, how can they connect with you?
Do I put it on the chat or what?
Just let us know what's the best website that people can go to.
Collective Intelligences with an s.com.au.
Okay.
And that'll tell you what I'm doing with training now. And that's got my phone number and everything on it.
Okay, beautiful. All right, and here it is here, coming up on the screen. So for those who are going to be tuning in on audio, because this is a podcast as well, just go along here to collectiveintelligences.com.au, spelling that out, COLLECTIVE. Intelligences is INTELLIGENCES.com.au, and connect with Lorna there, and that'll have all the links. Reach out to her. You're also on quite a few social media channels as well. Which is your main social media of choice, Lorna?
Well, Facebook and LinkedIn.
Beautiful. Connect with Lorna. And Bukkland is spelled Bukkland, Lorna Bukkland. You are an absolute inspiration. This is why we call you the Destiny Designer. You are extraordinary. And I do believe you're one of the best NLP trainers, master trainers in Australia, I believe. And, you know, whether you want to admit it or say it or not, it is not not about, so I mean, it's a branding thing. It's like JT Fox says, I'm the world's #1 wealth coach, right? I mean, it's a branding thing to say, that you're one of the best or the best. However, the thing is, whatever you do, you've got to have confidence in what you do, or else no one will believe in you either. So, however you portray that in your marketing, your branding, it's something that it's important to put yourself out there, because most people are the world's best kept secret. And this is why 90% of people die with regrets, because they have a lot of fear around putting themselves out there, because we're not taught to do this. We're taught to be seen and not heard as children. We're not taught to actually step up and speak up about anything in life. And so it really takes something. It takes guts to step up and speak up. And I congratulate you, Lorna. I love the fact that, just the other day you were saying, I was on an event till 4 o'clock in the morning with America. I am blown away that you do that. So many people are just sitting on their backsides, getting the dole here in Australia. In fact, we pay people not to work in Australia, by the way. We do pay people not to work. So, that's why so many people don't work. And now we've brought in nearly a million people we have let come into Australia. The Labor government has, right, nearly a million since Labor came into government. And interestingly, I got my hair done the other day by a French lady, right, a young French lady who's traveling. There's people around. I'm finding the workers that are here in Australia now are generally have come in from other countries. The ones that were born here are the ones sitting at home on the dole watching Netflix, a lot of the time, right? And I mean, this is a whole other conversation. However, if you want to achieve results faster in life, you're not going to do it on the dole, right? You're going to do it where you're living your passions, where you are loving your life, where you are out on the court, you're playing on the court, you're not, sitting at home, twiddling your thumbs. I don't think that's what we're here on the planet for. I think we're here to pursue our passions and pursue our purpose. I'm getting on a rant now about the government, but anyway, let's not go too much down that rabbit hole. I do say it as it is, and I want to thank you so much, Lorna. You are extraordinary. Please connect with Lorna; she's awesome. And is there a book coming out soon, Lorna? Is there?
Yes, there is. I will finish it soon.
Okay, watch this space.
From fear to freedom.
From fear to
Love
freedom.
that.
Love.
Yes.
And do you have a favorite quote or motto that you like, Lorna, that you'd like to share? Was a favorite quote or motto?
Ask me things. I always have lots of things. I still probably what I always go back to is my dad, is what he said to me. That did not work out well or the way we wanted it. What is it we can do next time? Or how could we have done it differently today? I use that every day in some way. If something goes or something, that didn't work out the way I wanted, how can I do it better next time? And I think that stops you getting into, oh my God, I'm not a drama queen.
Yes, you certainly are, Lorna. You're an absolutely beautiful soul, and I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sure so many others who you've touched through your life path so far, and so many you are yet to touch as well. I feel like you're just getting started, Lorna. I'm so excited to see where the future takes you. And our beautiful Kerstin, how can people connect with you, my dear?
Best is to go to my link tree. There you'll find all the relevant links. This is linktree.ee. I learned that from you. I'm going to spell it out / Kerstin Linnartz, which is KERSTIN LINNARTZ. And of course, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and on all the platforms. I don't use LinkedIn that much. I have a Facebook group which is called the Power of a Woman Collective, where I share a lot of valuable things as well. So looking forward to connect on all channels.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that, Kerstin. And what's a favorite quote or motto that you'd like to share today?
I'm actually going for my download again that I'm getting right now, because we so beautifully talked about integrating the knowledge so much. So today I want to plug into a Confucius quote that I like to share is, tell me something and I hear it, teach me something and I learn it, let me do something and it will forever be mine. Love that. Yes.
Beautiful, Kerstin. I love that. And I love how you say Confucius. How did you say Confucius then?
We say Confucius. This is the German pronunciation.
I love it. Confucius. Sounds like, take your foot over there. Confucius. Confucius. Anyway, watch the German Coast Guard video that's up on my YouTube channel. You'll have a good laugh.
I'll watch it. I love it. I was thinking.
I'm thinking. What are you thinking about? Anyway, watch the video. You got to see. They do it much better on there. It is hilarious. I love that. And this is the beauty of this show. We're bringing that.
Isn't it so much better when we can laugh about it? You've been German, I've been
Aussie. Absolutely.
Yeah. We were brought up, and like my husband's Italian, and we called them wogs, and they called us skips, and they did this, and it was fun. And now,
absolutely,
to anybody.
Yes, yeah. That's a whole other topic. I can absolutely embrace almost every stereotype they put out there, unless, as long as it doesn't harm or insult anyone, I can. And it's true. I mean, so many Germans, they have problems with a TH, so they are thinking instead of thinking. It's so funny, the video that Aldwyn shared. Please come to the Media Mavens Facebook page that we have. She put up a super funny video pointing out the ridiculousness of some of the German English-speaking language.
Well, the thing is, though, that German Coast Guard guy, I'm sure his English is still a lot better than my German is. Now, I know Guten Tag, Guten Abend, etc. So, that's the thing, is we're all learning as we go, right? It's a beautiful thing, but it is quite a hilarious take, that one. It's very funny. And for those who want to connect with me, you can go to linktree/Aldwyn. That's linktr.ee/Aldwyn. You'll see all of my social links there. There's a whole lot of free resources there. You can book a call with me on my calendar link in there. We have the Global Good News Challenge that happens every month, absolutely free. A great way you can practice gratitude and share good news to not just lift your energy and the energy on the planet, but also to help reduce depression and suicide rates. Very, very powerful thing to do. And check out my YouTube channel. We've had over 130,000 views now across our YouTube channel, over 1,000 videos on there. It's quite extraordinary. So check out some of the interviews we've had there. And some of the people we've interviewed have now passed on, like Michael DeMaco Rowland. We interviewed Barry Crocker. Now, he hasn't passed on. He was 88 when we interviewed him the other day, and we did nearly a 2-hour interview, but about as long as this one's gone, nearly a 2-hour interview with Barry Crocker, who's a phenomenal Australian TV personality and showman, and so many others. We've got some extraordinary interviews. So check that out as well. Make sure you like our Media Mavens Show. It looks like this on Facebook. Check us out on podcast and all the audio platforms. And for those who've joined us live or watching the replay, let us know you're watching this live or replay. Pop in the comments. And what have you enjoyed about this show? Let us know. What is something you've got from this show? What is a gem that you've got from today that you could just instill for yourself a little bit deeper and pop it in the chat so others can learn from that as well? What's something you've got from this today? And if you've enjoyed it, share the love. Let us know what you think. And of course, if you have any questions as well, pop that in there and we can get back to that later. Make sure you tag us. And we would love to hear from you. And a quote I am going to share with you is actually one from Oprah Winfrey. And it's, if you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough. That's another favorite one. Thank you so much for joining us. Any final words, Lorna or Kerstin, before we wrap up today?
Thank you so much. Just go out and do it. You're in charge. You are in charge. It's up to you.
Yes.
Yeah. You can have faster results in every area of life when you apply it to self.
Thank you, Lorna.
Amen. Amen. Nothing more to add to that. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lorna. Thank you again, Aldwyn. It's been a beautiful time. And thank you to all our listeners and viewers. Hit that subscribe button when you're watching on YouTube. Join our Facebook group and also hand in any topics that you would like us to address in the realms of health, wealth, and wisdom. And we're super happy to tap into the beautiful wells of health, wealth, and wisdom that are out there.
Absolutely. And if you want to be a guest on our show, reach out to myself or Kerstin. You can book a call with me and let's see what you've got to offer. We have got some awesome shows coming up. We're actually booked out for the next few months with most of our shows. So check it out. We're back the same bat time, same bat channel. It'll be Tuesday every week, or we might miss 1 or 2 weeks in between. However, most weeks we're going to be here on a Tuesday at this time. So wherever you are in the world, we hope you can join us. And that is the wrap. And I'm going to give you all a big clap. Yay! We all got a clap today. It's a wrap. That was a fantastic show. Thank you so much, Lorna. Amazing to have you here. Thank you for watching. Have an extraordinary day or night wherever you are in the world. We'll see you again very soon with more amazing Media Mavens Show episodes. Thank you so much, and bye.